Good morning, students. So, you all are well acquainted with what goes on in a clinical laboratory. Last class you also had regarding automation in clinical laboratory. So, you are having now a good idea about it. Now, today we are going to discuss a very important topic regarding labs, that is quality control. You must have heard your seniors or some faculties, someone speaking in the lab frequently about QC, QC and QC. So what is that QC? The quality control. Quality control has become an integral part of any lab. What is it? It is to ensure the reliability of each and every measurement that is performed on any sample in your lab. Okay? Whether the results which you are generating are correct or not, how true they are. Okay, so we try to maintain that. Now, typical definition of it is conformance to satisfying the needs, expectations of the customers. And now first what we do, we try to detect any errors which is there. Okay, what we need to maintain a good quality, I need to ensure that the results generated are correct. That means whether any error is there or not. If there is any error, we take some corrective action to it. Okay, so on daily basis, whatever samples we are running, we ensure the reliability of the measurement. Now after that, validation of the test or a method. Now the samples which you are running, say the different parameters which you run, they are being followed by the different methods. Okay, now whether the method which you are using or the test which you are using is correct or not, how much correct it is, that is a validation. How will you validate a test? Based on four things you are going to see. Okay, first is the accuracy. Accuracy means how close your result is to the true value, how correct you are. So to measure or to ensure this accuracy is a very important point in the quality control. If it is not near to the true value, that means the machine is not giving you the correct reading. Precision. Precision means the repeatability or reproducibility of a machine. That if you suppose run a sample very many times, the same sample, okay, suppose 3 times you are running, once you are getting 100, next time you are getting the value is 99, and the third time 101. So you understand the precision is very good. The machine reproduces the result very nicely. So like this 10 to 20 times it should give a very good precision. There should not be a variation or variability more than 5, okay, or more than 10. So next thing is specificity. So a particular method, you are giving a reagent for a particular parameter. Say for glucose you are giving certain reagent. That reagent is measuring only the parameter glucose in your sample, okay, by a particular method. So if you try to fabricate or if you try to alter your reagent, then the whole method is changed and you do not get the results. So it is very specific, okay, the specificity you have to see. It is not that, say very good example, like in urine you are doing the Benedict's test. That is for the reducing substances, okay. So if you are giving that Benedict's reagent, it will detect any reducing substances in urine or in blood, whatever. But if you want to be very specific, only glucose you want among all the reducing substances, then you have to go for a particular method, that is glucose oxidase. Okay, so this is your specificity. Like a particular reagent by a particular method is giving you the result of a particular parameter. Next is sensitivity. Sensitivity means even if you are having, suppose protein estimation, a very minute concentration of protein present in a sample also can be detected by the machine or by the method. Okay, so a machine or a test to be validated, I require these 4 things to be perfect. Total quality management. Now, total quality management is overall how do I maintain the quality in a lab. Okay. So it is a continuous approach that seeks to improve the quality and performance which will meet or exceed the customer expectations. Okay. This can be achieved by integrating all quality related functions and processes throughout the organization. So it requires the involvement of everyone, good technicians, good reagents, suppliers should be good, the machine should be working good. Okay. This is mainly divided into 4 categories, though this is not a very important topic. Okay, in your level, you all do not require in details of this total quality management, but just for an idea, you just remember it is divided into 4 or 5 categories. First is plan, that is quality planning should be there. Second is do, that is the processing, quality processing should be good. Then the checking you are doing by quality control, you are running control material, and then you are checking what results your machine is giving you. And then act, suppose that is act means quality assurance and quality improvement. If there is any errors, I will take some steps, corrective action, I'll try to remove those errors. Now errors, if you see, there are mainly 3 types of errors. First is pre-analytical. Okay, that means it includes the patient and specimen identification. There might be error in this, you might miss out, say 2 samples, they are having the same numbers, so you do not know which is whose. Patient preparation, okay, when and where, in which condition should you draw the blood, phlebotomy in which conditions, okay, that might create error. Specimen collection, okay, how you are collecting it, specimen, in which vial you are collecting, for which parameter, which vial should be concerned, or say the tourniquet, how you are tying the tourniquet and how you are collecting the sample, okay. Then transport, it's very important, how you are transporting from one place to another, suppose, so how you are transporting the samples, in which condition, after how many hours or after how long time you are processing that matters. Monitoring personnel. So in a medical lab we have got 3 main stages: pre-analytical, analytical, post-analytical. All of them should be under control. Analytical means what I am generating or what I am processing in my machine. Okay, so how will I assess that analytical errors? I will run some control material, that is internal quality control, external quality assessment. Now in details, what is internal quality control? Internal quality control means internally in a lab, if I want to see whether my results generated are correct or not, how correct it is. So for that I will require a material, let's say a standard serum sample whose values are known to me. Okay. Now this, in very big lab or large scale laboratories, what they do, they can prepare their own control materials. Okay. That is, from the pool serum they are making their own control materials, they are centrifuging, they are mixing up 10 to 20 samples of normal values, then centrifuging it, and then we are running this sample. So whatever values we are getting, so that becomes your known values, standard values. Okay. Now this is not possible in most of the labs because all labs do not have so many samples, and mostly the labs are what, small scale, that means small or medium size lab. So therefore we do not get so many samples. In such cases what we do is that we purchase or we run the control materials and standard serum sample only, we run the control materials of some companies, okay, or agents. We are running those standard sample or the standard control material whose values are well established. Say in our lab only, at the central lab you have seen, for Transitia, Erba, Normpath we are having, for Randox we are having, okay. These are the different control materials we are having and we are running in the lab. So we purchase the control material from the particular company and they are having the well established values. Now we are running this to know how our machine is working, the working condition of our machine. So once we run that control material whose values are known to us and we get the result, we can compare it, how close it is to the mean, okay, and what is the deviation. So accordingly we come to know that the whole throughout the day, whatever reports we are generating, how close they are to the true value, what is the precision. Next we come to the, okay, under internal quality control, now which we are purchasing, which I said purchasing from somebody, we are running the controls on daily basis. Okay, this is what is internal quality control. Now this can be of three types again. If we are taking from other company, this may be of three types. One is that first party, second is second party control, and third party control. First party control is what? Suppose the manufacturer who is producing the machine, say the manufacturer, for validation of their own machine, for calibration of their own machine, okay, they've installed the machine. Now to validate the test or the method being run on the machine, they are, what they're doing, they are producing their own control material, okay, of known well established values, and they are running that on their machine. So when they are using their own produced control material, so then it is said to be first party control. Second party control, when we purchase the machine from the manufacturer, they have installed it in our lab, and now we are trying to confirm the agreements or the specification which they have made, that fulfilled or not. To confirm that, we are running there, we are purchasing the control material, their control material only, and we are running it in our labs after being installed, after being calibrated. We are trying to see whether what they have made the promises say, what they are saying, is actually confined or fulfilled or not in our labs. In our lab setup, whether we are getting the exact values or not, tallying with the known values. Okay, and third party control is which is independent of the manufacturer as well as the buyer user. That means this is an organization which is totally outside. Okay, they are not the ones from which we have purchased a machine. They are not the ones who are running their control materials in their own machines, but we are not attached. We are just taking the control material being processed or produced by them. So they are manufacturing only the control material, and we are purchasing their control material and running in our labs on the machine being purchased from some other company. So these are the organizations which is totally independent and outside. Okay, so that is a third party control. Now if by running a third party control we are getting good results, okay, the results which we are getting are tallying with the known values, so then we understand our machine is working absolutely well. Now what do you mean by external quality assessment? Now internal quality control we are running for the purpose to maintain the accuracy, precision, all this, okay, on daily basis, to maintain the accuracy, how my lab is working. It is like I am assessing my own work. And external quality assessment is someone else is giving me the certificate of how my lab is running. It is for the comparison of the quality of work of my lab to some other labs in some other region of the state or some other region of the country. If I want a comparison between my lab and some other labs, inter-laboratory comparison, that is made by external quality assessment. Also the purpose is what? For the long-term accuracy of the lab, you can say long-term accuracy of the quality. Now the external quality assessment actually comes by external quality assessment scheme. So what they do, there is a reference central lab, okay, a laboratory is there that is preparing the sample, okay, and they are sending to the peripheral labs. Now the peripheral labs will generate the results, will run that sample, and they will be sending the reports to the central lab, that central reference laboratory, wherever it is. Then what we do is that then the central laboratory will generate the reports. They have got already the known values, so they will send us either the difference, how much difference is there between our results and the mean, or they might send us in the form of SDI, that is standard deviation index. Now what is standard deviation index? It is the results, the difference of our results to the mean divided by the SD, standard deviation. Now this SD is particular, that mean is also has to be grouped in. Now external quality assurance scheme is a bit different from proficiency testing. So when it is compared among the peer group means with all those laboratories who are using the same method used by us or by the same machine say, so they are considered to be in the peer group. So the comparison is also made among the peer group. Thereby the formula of SDI is, that is a result which we are getting, minus the group mean and divided by the group standard deviation. So this is what is called standard deviation index, or in other words Z score. So depending on this value, usually between -1 to +1 is a very good score, and this has to be maintained in the labs. So by comparing this, so the central laboratory will send us the reports in the form of this SDI. So we compare this and we check, we get the ultimate the assessment or the reports how our lab is actually running, or what is the report after comparison to other labs. Now we come to the post-analytical error. Post-analytical transcriptional errors, or there will be unclear report format. Transcription means while typing errors. Suppose the run of the sample is very good, the correct report only I have got, but the technician makes a mistake while copying that report. Or suppose the typist makes a mistake for the entry. He makes the wrong entry in the wrong patient. Or the report is not clear. So these are the errors which you get post-analytically. Now, internal quality control procedures, like which I have already said. I already said how to do and what is the control material to see the working condition of your machine. So a stable control material which mimics the patient sample. It is exactly similar to a patient sample, okay? It is analyzed on daily basis, day to day, but only the difference is what? A patient sample you do not know the values, whereas a control material you know their values very well. Individual measurements are plotted. Now whatever we are getting values, results of these control material, they are being plotted in a graph, okay? That is called the Leviginin chart. On the x-axis we are having the day or the time, how many times we are running, or it mainly shows the time, and y-axis will show you, the x-axis will show you the time and y-axis will show you the values which you have got, okay, whether it is within a range or not. Now there is a Leviginin chart which we are plotting, okay, in values of +2s to -2s or +3s to -3s, okay. There is a range, low to higher range, between which our values should be present or else it is rejected. Now evaluation, whether this is how much good our control is running, how much good our lab or machine is running, whether measurement is in control or not, we decide this depending on some Westgard multi-rules. Now you come to reference material or standard. Now standard or reference, first of all, see, when we install a machine, the machine has to be calibrated, okay. Calibrated means some adjustments which is being made, okay, so that it gives, the machine now starts giving us values which, based on which we generate the other reports, okay. Now what is reference or standard? It comes with every kit, okay. For a particular, these days for a particular parameter you are having a particular standard, okay. Now these standards are substance of homogeneous material. Homogeneous means the matrix, the base on which it is being made. Suppose we run a serum sample, so that from blood we are getting that serum, isn't it? So suppose we have to detect glucose, so besides the glucose, whatever we are having in the sample, in the serum, is our matrix. So similarly we are running these standards to calibrate our machine, okay. So in order to calibrate our machine, we need this standard which should be, okay, as close as possible, as same as to the original sample, okay, which we have to measure. Suppose in urine we have to detect, then our matrix should be similar to the urine, almost similar. If you are measuring in CSF, that matrix should be almost similar. In the standard, the matrix should be almost similar to CSF, okay. Or if it is in the blood, say, then the plasma should be almost similar to that. So a standard should be made up of a homogeneous, that means a similar, almost similar matrix it should have as compared to blood. Okay, and it is having a well established values which we don't have in case of patient. It is having well established values. With this we try to calibrate a machine or a method. Okay. So calibration you already know, I think. Okay, known quantitative or qualitative characteristics like concentration, activity used to calibrate a measurement procedure. Okay. Now the control, as I said already, control why we are using to see or check the working condition, to see the working condition of a machine, what values it is giving. Remember, again and again saying you that calibration is what? It is a process of making an adjustment or marking scale so that the readings of an instrument agree with the accepted and certified standard. Okay, standard is having a certain value. Now what we do, we are trying to making a marking scale to the machine. Okay, so that the readings, whatever readings are taken by this instrument, they agree with the standard. Suppose the standard is 100 milligram per deciliter. So it should definitely give that 100. The factor has to be placed in such a way, has to be calibrated in such a way, the machine, that it gives definitely the standard as 100. Okay, so standards are what? Substance of homogeneous material, that is the matrix has to be almost similar to your say plasma, serum, or you can say CSF or urine, whatever, and with well established values, that is used for calibration of machine. Control is to see the working condition. Calibrators are high quality standards. Okay, they are high quality standards. Now standards in general, they are not of that high quality, they are not that very accurate because they come for a particular parameter, they are specified. So they are not so much similar or so much of high quality as compared to calibrators. Calibrators are what? They are high quality standards, and with one calibrator you can judge or you can calibrate multiple parameters. So definitely that solution has to be of high quality. If it has to be very specific for each and every multiple parameters you are calibrating, okay, in a machine. So the calibrators are definitely of high quality, okay, as compared to the normal standards which come with each of the parameters. Okay, now these are the materials being first run. Install a machine, then we calibrate it with the standard, or say a calibrator for different, like automation you have learnt last in the labs, the big machines, automated machine, there we are doing mainly with the calibrators because we have got multiple parameters and we want to calibrate it at a time. So the control material, IFCC defines the control material as a solution analyzed solely for QC purpose. Okay, criteria to be considered. This control material, what it should be, the characteristics of this control material. First is a matrix, as I've said before. Okay, the base is the matrix. Then the reconstitution of this has to be properly done. Stability, you have to see how stable it is. If it is you have reconstituted and you have kept it for more than 10 days, obviously there will be deterioration. There will be deterioration in the values of the parameters. So the stability of whether it is stable or not, that we have to see where we have refrigerated or in which condition we have tried to preserve it. Assayed or unassayed at appropriate analyte level. The matrix, as I have already said, base from which the control material is prepared. It should be, we should try our best to make this base almost similar to the original serum sample. Okay, ideally the same matrix as specimen, so they behave like a specimen only. We try to do not exactly matching, but almost it should be as homogeneous or as same as possible. Controls available are human based or bovine based. Now in our labs you are getting ERBA control or Randolph controls you are getting, which are run on daily basis. Okay, and finish this. Reconstitution of a control is very important. Sometimes we are giving a diluent is provided already with the control material, so you can do it with that, or what we do is the sterile water we are using, isn't it? Sterile water we are using for reconstitution. So how much quantity of solvent we have to give, that really matters. Sometimes what happens, you give more water, so the values you are getting all less. Sometimes less water is there, solvent is less, then also the values may be changed. Then the mixing, proper waiting, you have to wait for half an hour, okay? When after reconstitution, how long you have to wait? So it depends. So standardization of these factors is very important, okay? Stability. Now expiry date, stability after reconstitution, how we should preserve it, okay, at what temperature, how long, these are very much important factors. And we should take almost, usually expected is 1 year supply of the same lot. Okay, the lot, there is a particular lot number for every control, and as the lot changes, the value also keeps on changing. So every time you're using a new control with a new lot, you have to check the values, okay? Otherwise the control which you're running will not give you the good results. Assayed, unassayed or unassayed QC. So assayed QC materials are usually used in our labs. They are the manufacturer values for each instrument or method. They are the guidelines till each lab establish its own QC range. Now in different labs there are different setup. So every day which we are using, minimum period of time for a lab to establish 20 days. That means we keep on running the control material. Okay, if it gives us good result, well and good. At least for 20 days is required to standardize that what QC we are actually getting. Okay, whether it is good or bad, or it takes 20 days to judge whether a new QC should be run or not, what should we do, okay, or should we continue with the old lot, etc. Now appropriate analyte level, the used QC material should be covering the measured range of the analyte both in its normal and pathological range. So it will be provided to us. Ideally there are 2 levels. So some labs they run 2 levels of high level and normal. There are 3 levels total. So 2 levels of QC material we are using in chemistry analysis, okay, and sometimes 3 levels for the hormone and tumor markers. 3 levels means there is a high, there is a normal and there is a low level, okay. And this is for the different category of patient, the different values that the patient might have. He might have a high value or a low value or a normal value. So accordingly the controls we are running. Now after running these controls, we plotted in a chart, I said, Levy-Jennings chart, control chart, where the mean SD of the QC material you will be provided with, okay. Now sometimes what you do, you have to generate your own labs values, okay. That is a lab mean, lab SD after running 20 days. Sometimes in some lab it happens so. Again sometimes you go only with the manufacturer mean and SD values. X-axis control values we are having, and y-axis control value and x-axis the time of run. Now it is very easy to assess after running a control. It's very easy to assess if you just have a look at the charts, Levy-Jennings charts, to see that whether the control material has run well or not, the results accurate or not. Now this is the chart which I was speaking about, Levy-Jennings graph, okay. Here see there is a mean, a particular mean is there. There is a range. First of all you come to a range, okay. That is the plus 3s to minus 3s values are there, okay. The middle line which you have seen here, this is your mean, fine. Then this is your 1s, this is your 2sd, okay, and finally is your 3sd. There should be a level here, it's not shown. See here they have given this is the mean, okay. Then you are having dash, this is your 1sd, then this is your 2sd. So here plus 2s, see this is your mean, above this mean is your plus, everything goes in plus, plus 1s, plus 2s, plus 3s, and below this mean is your minus 1s, minus 2s, minus 3s. So there is a range, low to high range, okay, and in between there is a mean. So low plus high divided by 2 you are getting mean, and each of this difference in 1sd, 2sd you are getting it, suppose it is plus 3s to minus 3s. So what we do is that the high value, there is a target, there is a range. So in this range the high value minus the low value divided by 6. If we consider plus 3s to minus 3s, will give me the value of 1sd. Suppose we consider plus 2s to minus 2s. Then what I'll do, from the high range to the low range, I will take the difference and then divide it by 4. So that will give me the value of 1 ST. So see, we have plotted this Levy-Genin. Okay, this is a day, which time we have, or which date we have run, and it is giving us either in plus values or in minus values. Now evaluating the QC results. Now detects whether, so evaluating QC results, we need to know some rules, that is Westgard rules, whether it is correct or not, how much correct it is, whether it is acceptable or not, or shall we reject it. So this is what which is detecting the laboratory error. Now errors, if you say, there are two types of error. One is random error, the other one is systemic error. Random error is an error that can be either positive or negative, whose direction and exact magnitude cannot be predicted. You do not know why that is occurring. It is not in your hand. The distribution of results when replicate measurements are made on a single specimen. Okay. Error in pipetting, or maybe some voltage, starting voltage disturbance, or anything which is not in your hand, that is a random error. Okay, there is no explanation, or you cannot do anything regarding that. Systemic error is an inaccuracy error. Okay, this is always in one direction. It is displacing the mean of the distribution from its original value. In contrast to random errors, the systemic errors are in one direction and cause all the test results to be either high or low. Okay, so in that case, you understand, that means you have got here something to do. You have to calibrate the process, you have to change the material. Okay, and you will see the difference. That means it can be changed, these errors can be removed, but random errors is not in your hand. Okay, it is unexplainable, random, and usually see concentrated at the same. But random errors, it may go in different directions. You do not know actually the cause. Okay, when you say systemic error, all accumulated in one direction. So in one direction it goes, and this is in different direction. Now you come to what I was saying, like how will you judge? You have run the control material, you have plotted the chart, Levy-Genin chart is being plotted. In all machines you will be getting automated analyzer. There, how will you judge whether it is acceptable or not, depending on some Westgard rules. So there is something called the 1-2s rule violation. So see here, plus 3s to minus 3s. Okay, we are having here the mean also. Suppose you are running the control and the values go 1-2s, that means one value above 2s. Okay, so this is, if you are running two controls, then it is acceptable. One control you are getting 1-2s, the other one you are getting good, that means within 2s, so then it is accepted, very good. Okay, but if you are running only one control and that goes to 1-2s, so it is a case of violation. You cannot, that is rejectable, that is not acceptable. You have to do something about it. You have to calibrate, you have to rerun, you have to do something about it. This is a condition where it is outside 3s, isn't it? So 1-3s, this is 1-2s, this is 1-3s. Both are rejectable criteria. This is not accepted. If you are running, particularly 1-2s, if you are running one control. Second Westgard rule is the 2-2s. Two values, two times you have run, or 2 days, first day, second day also you are getting the same thing. 2-2s, two values. So this is not acceptable. Okay, this is a rejectable criteria. You cannot generate reports based on this. You have to take some measure, you have to calibrate it, you have to change the calibrator material, you have to change, or you have to change the control material, you have to run it again. Okay, so this is also rejection criteria, and it's a systemic error. These are all systemic error I am saying. This is 4-1s, that is 4 times you are getting beyond 1s. 4-1s. Okay, so when it is one set of mean and 4 times you are getting beyond 1s, with outside 1s, whether it is plus, here negative has been shown, minus, you may have plus also, but this is not acceptable. Okay, this is rejectable criteria. You have to either calibrate or you have to do something about it. 10x rule. 10x rule is that on one side of mean, whether it be within 1s or outside 1s or outside 2s, whatever, But for 10 days or 10 times if you are running the control material and you are getting on one side of mean, so this is not in any way acceptable. This is a violation. This is your rejectable criteria. This you cannot do. Okay. So either you have to calibrate your machine again and again to remove this rule, and even if you are not getting, then you have to set up a lab mean. Okay. R4S, this is a random error. All this time I was speaking of whatever errors, those were systemic error. But this is a random error. One time you are running the control material, it comes to minus, say here it is minus 2s. The other time it goes to plus. Okay, once it is minus 3s, the next time you are running the control it becomes plus 3s. So it is crisscross. So this is what is called random error. Okay, but this is R4, this is not acceptable. Definitely you cannot leave the machine, you cannot run the samples based on this QC, so you have to run it again. Most acceptable values what you have learned, it should be within plus 2s to minus 2s. Okay, but of course if it crosses also, one value also crosses. In case of two control material it is acceptable, but if it is single control material you are running, then if it crosses 2s it is not acceptable criteria. So that is all summary of the Westgard rules. So how you have to judge after plotting in the Levy-Jones chart, how you have to judge, okay, depending on the Westgard rule. So thank you. If you have any questions, please let us know.